let's now go into preview mode and talk about this awesome Fight Night card, which whenever the UFC goes here, it always feels like a pay-per-view. It feels like a little pay-per-view junior. So this coming Saturday at the O2 Arena in London, England, is UFC Fight Night. Aspinall versus Tybura, featuring the return of Tom Aspinall taking on fellow heavyweight Marcin Tybura. Is it Tybura with a liquid U?
Yes, I believe so.
Tybura. All right. Let's see. Let's get into this. Before we talk about our first fight, we're going to talk about first Vieira versus Kianzad. Any other fights or fighters that you want to spotlight for our listeners and viewers?
I'm pulling up my betting odds because I realized I forgot to write them down here. Let's see. So we've tried to narrow this down. It's a 15 fight card. We're going to preview 10 of these, and then we're going to get to our special guest here to talk some boxing. But of the 5 that we are not doing, I will spotlight Yanal Ashmos fighting Chris Duncan. Ashmos had a fantastic knockout in his debut. Chris Duncan is a hometown guy who won his debut as well. That should be a quality fight. And then also Danny Roberts, who's always on these London cards. He'll try to get a W for the hometown crowd. He's fighting a debuting Johnny Parsons.
Okay. That being said, let us first go to where is this fight on this card? I'm looking at the lineup here. In the women's bantamweight division, on the prelims, Ketlen Vieira taking on Pannie Kianzad. Let's cue this up. I apologize if I'm butchering her name.
No,
MMA truly is a global sport. Ketlen Vieira, obviously the 31-year-old out of Brazil, most recently lost to Raquel Pennington in a split decision. That snapped a 2-fight win streak she had. She's 13-3 as a pro overall, mostly decision wins for her. Let's see. She was standing across from Pannie Kianzad, the 31-year-old, also from Sweden, 16-6. Of her 16 wins, 13 have come by way of decision. And she is coming off of a win against Lena Landsberg. What do you think, Marc? Who do you think is going to take this one, and what's your pick?
So Vieira is the favorite here. She's minus 150. Pannie is plus 130 as the underdog, so pretty close. 1 inch of height and 2 inches of reach on the Vieira side of things. This is a bit tricky because Pannie has looked good, but I can't seem to pick her to beat Ketlen. And I'm not the hugest Ketlen believer, as listeners of this show know. But she's big, she's strong, she controls against the fence well. I think she'll be the one pressuring more successfully. As is always the case with her, the question is, will she be active enough and let her hands go enough to make sure that she doesn't drop rounds and cost herself a decision? But as much as I do also think that Kianzad has some skills and that she's showing improvements fight to fight here, I'm going to say this goes Ketlen's way just off of kind of a little bit of pressure, size, clinch combo. I will say Vieira UD.
I also like Vieira on account that she is for 135. She is a giant at 5'9". That's pretty much as tall and big as you get at 135 pounds on the women's side of things. And she's also a bit of a legend killer. She has great wins on her resume over Holly Holm, Misha Tate, Kat Zingano, Sarah McMahon. She has quite a few names on her resume here. I'll roll with her and I'll copy your pick here. UD for Vieira. Okay, let's go to the men's welterweight division with Bryan Bam Bam Barberena taking on Makhmud Muradov. So Barberena, talk about legend killers. Goddamn. The 34-year-old out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. 18-10 as a pro with 11 knockout wins on his record. Trying to get back in the win column, though. After taking out a couple of legends in Matt Brown and Robbie Lawler, he has now dropped 2 to RDA and Gunny Nelson. He will be standing across from Makhmud Muradov. The 33-year-old out of Uzbekistan, 25-8 as a professional with 17 knockouts, 20 finishes overall on his career. Also coming into this weekend with back-to-back losses and looking to get back into the win column. Last fight he won was against Andrew Sanchez back in January of 2021. Give us your take and your pick, Marc.
Okay, so Barberena moving up in weight here. He is the dog. He is plus 260 taking this middleweight fight. Muradov is a minus 330 favorite. There are going to be 2 inches of height and 3.5 inches of reach for Makhmud Muradov. I don't really get this move for Bryan Barberena. He never really has seemed like he struggles to make 170. He's not the most ripped, shredded welterweight we've ever seen. His frame doesn't scream 185 to me. It's not as if he's moving up to fight some name, where it'd be like, oh, all right, he wants his shot against, whoever it may be. He's moving up to fight Makhmud Muradov, who's kind of a tough test of a guy who hasn't proven all that much yet. So I don't know. It's a weird choice for me for Bryan Barberena. And I think I'm going to go with Muradov. I didn't think he'd be this big of a favorite, but he is. He's another one who I'm not super high on, but between the reach, the size, the grappling ability he can turn to if he's getting hit, I just think that Muradov makes more sense as the pick here. He'll exchange on the feet. Barberena will be feeling some middleweight power, but even if it's not going well and Barberena does start to kind of do what he does and accumulate some shots, and it's not like he's a one-hitter quitter either, so he's not gonna flash Muradov with one. It's an accumulation. So if it ever started going that way, I think Muradov's grappling is good enough that he can lean on that size and strength advantage that he's going to have and bring the fight to the mat and win it there. So I will say Makhmud Muradov, UD.
Do we know why Bryan Barberena is moving up to middleweight?
I don't. I have not heard any explanation.
I think this is going to be a weird fight. I think he's a bit of a weird fighter. Here we go again. Given his skill set, he's a brawler with a tremendous chin. I mean, his head is made of fucking granite, this guy. Yes. But I think it's gonna be a you're gonna learn today kind of fight for Bryan Barberena going up to middleweight, which is a 15-pound jump in weight, as we know. Yeah. And like you said, he's gonna taste the middleweight power from a big Uzbek. So with that being said, I think Bryan Barberena is going to get finished in this fight. He's going to take a lot of damage. He doesn't have the best head movement. He likes to absorb blows, and I think Muradov is going to find that skull and clang his fists off it a bunch of times. I'm going to take a late fight finish for Muradov. I'll say round 3 TKO.
Like it.
Okay, going to the what is this fight? Is this lightweight? Okay. We have Marc Bone Crusher Diakiese taking on Joel Alvarez. So Diakiese, the hometown boy here at the O2 Arena in London. Bone Crusher, 30 years old, out of Yorkshire. Doncaster, South Yorkshire, 16-6 as a professional with 6 knockouts on his record. Looking to get back in the win column after losing decision to the veteran Michael Johnson back in December. He will be standing across from Joel El Fenomeno Alvarez, the 30-year-old out of Spain, 6 feet tall. 19-3 as a pro with 16 submission wins on his record. And he's also looking to get back in the win column after losing a TKO loss at the hands of the rising prospect Arman Sarukian. I will go first this time. I, at one point, was very, very high on Mr. Marc Diakiese. For some reason, I lost a little bit of faith in him. I love his haircut. He's an intimidating looking guy with the red swish going through his hair. And he has a hell of a physique, truly. Probably one of the best physiques in the UFC. That being said, I'm going to go with the submission artist here, Joel Alvarez. His last loss was at one of the best rising lightweights in the division in Sarukian. Before that snapped a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. So I'm going to go with Alvarez. I say he's going to get it done mid-fight. Give me a second round submission for the Spaniard.
Like it, your man is favored. He's minus 200. Marc Diakiese is a plus 165 underdog at home. There are 5 inches of height and 4 inches of reach on the Joel Alvarez side here. And Marc Diakiese, I agree, he is talented. We've seen how good his striking can be. We've seen how smothering his newfound wrestling skills can be at times. But with all that being said, if Joel Alvarez is the talent that I have thought he was and continue to think he is, and remember, that Arman Sarukian fight, he got cut really bad really early, and it changed the whole fight because he was drowning in his blood. So maybe he loses anyway, but you never know. Joel Alvarez is a skilled dude, and I think that he should beat Marc Diakiese, and I think he should finish Marc Diakiese. He's got the length, he's got the finishing ability everywhere. I don't think Diakiese wants to wrestle with Alvarez necessarily and test that jiu-jitsu game, so I think this probably will play out on the feet unless Alvarez is the one that changes that, but either way, with the reach, I think this one is all Joel. I will say it is a club and sub for him in round 2.
Okay. Let us now go to the men's bantamweight division. This is a bantamweight fight, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Feature bout on the prelims, I believe. Going down between Davey Dangerous Grant and Daniel Soncora Marcos. So Davey Grant, he's the hometown boy for this one. The 37-year-old fighting out of Bishop Auckland, England. 15-6 as a pro with 4 knockouts and 9 submission victories to his record. He's riding a back-to-back win streak coming into this Saturday night. He will be standing across from a fellow heavy hitter in Daniel Marcos, the 30-year-old out of Peru, Lima, Peru, undefeated prospect, 14-0 with 8 knockout victories and 6 decisions. He won on the Contender Series and then won his UFC debut back in January of this year. I will go first on this one. I have always liked Davey Grant ever since I discovered or was introduced to him on the UFC here. I've always liked his stand-up skills, man. I like his striking a lot. That being said, with 6 losses on his record, I'm going to roll with the undefeated fighter out of Lima, Peru for this one. I'm going to say that Daniel Marcos gets it done. Give me a round 1 knockout for Marcos.
Wow. Okay, I just realized I don't have odds written down for this one. Let me go to them very quick. I don't know why I didn't write it the whole time you were talking. Yeah, Daniel Marcos is the favorite. I'm not super shocked to see that. He is minus 145, and Davey Grant is a plus 120 underdog. The reach is the same here. Davey Grant is 1 inch taller, so nothing too significant. I really hate this booking for Davey Grant. The man is a veteran. He just beat Rafael Assunção in spectacular fashion. He deserved to be rewarded with a fun fight against a known name. And instead he gets Daniel Marcos, who is unknown to the masses, but is really dangerous. So it's a tricky booking here for Davey Grant. And he's known for getting in scraps, so he's going to be putting himself in the danger here. But as much as I acknowledge how live Daniel Marcos is here, I really don't want to pick against Davey Grant in London because I want to see him get this done. And he's one of these guys that hits harder than you realize until he's the one landing on you, I feel. And I think maybe those power shots can edge this and he can avoid getting finished. I'll roll Davey Grant. Maybe because I hope it happens, but I'll roll Davey Grant 29-28 UD.
All right, in the featherweight division, we have Lerone the Miracle Murphy taking on Joshua Culibao. Okay, so Lerone Murphy is the hometown boy for this one. 31 years old, out of Stockport, England. Undefeated, 12-0 with one draw, 7 knockout wins. He's coming off of a split decision victory over Gabriel Santos back at UFC 286 in March. And he will be standing across from the very fun Joshua Culibao, the 29-year-old out of Sydney, Australia. 11-1 with one draw, 5 knockouts on his record, riding a 3-fight win streak coming into this weekend. Marc, give us your take and your pick of Murphy versus Culibao.
Okay, so we have 1 inch of height on the Culibao side, half an inch of reach for Murphy, so pretty similar in that regard. Lerone Murphy is the favorite. He is minus 150. Josh Culibao is a plus 120 underdog. Lerone Murphy is undefeated and clearly very skilled. But he also feels to me like kind of the undefeated fighter who's due to pick up a loss at this level at some point. Like, I don't think he's that type of undefeated guy that's going to run to a title shot. Like, I feel like he's kind of hit that level now where a loss might come. He's not too dominant. He doesn't come across as an elite talent. He's kind of edged out some of these wins. And now he gets Josh Culibao, who is a dog. He does not stop. He can scramble up. If Murphy tries to out-wrestle him, he'll look for that opportunistic sub. He's fairly dynamic at times on the feet. I think he's very live here to be the guy who beats Lerone Murphy. But all that said, I am very, very torn still because Lerone Murphy is buttoned up. He's clean. He can generally control the fight when needed and have it play out the way he wants. I could easily see him doing just that here and winning a decision. Plus, he's fighting at home. I think probably Lerone Murphy will be winning this fight. And the question for me is more so just whether Culibao can find a big moment that ends it or at least changes it and then swings it toward him for long enough to win it. So I think that in and of itself is somewhat of a coin toss, but I've gone back and forth. I think I am going to land on Lerone Murphy by decision in the end.
Yeah, Joshua Culibao, maybe the most unassuming guy on the UFC roster. Does not at all seem like a fighter or look like a fighter, but the guy can fight. That being said, I'm going to roll with the undefeated guy, Lerone Murphy. I'm just going to keep rolling with him until he loses. He does have one draw, a split draw, and his most recent victory was a split decision victory, so he's not untouchable. So he's gotten to this point, 12-0, Culibao 11-1, so very nice matchmaking, by the way. Mwah, chef's kiss for the matchmakers here. I will take Lerone Murphy. I will say he hands Joshua Culibao another knockout loss, his second one of his career thus far. I'll say round 2 TKO for Murphy. Let's see what is next. Let me pull this back up. We have Jai Herbert taking on Fariz. How do you say his name? Ziam?
Fares Ziam.
Ziam, excuse me. Jai Herbert, 35-year-old, out of Midlands, England. 12-4 as a pro with one draw, coming off of a draw with Ludovic Klein back in March of this year. Fares Ziam, Smile Killer, that's a creepy nickname. The 26-year-old out of France, 13-4 with 9 finishes on his record, coming off of a win against Michael, I'm going to butcher this name. Is it Michal Figlak?
I think it was just Figlak.
At UFC Fight Night 209. Figlak. Back in September.
Yeah, I think it was.
Give us your take and your pick.
Okay, so yeah, good one here. For us, Ziam is the favorite at -160. Jai Herbert is +135. Same height, 2-inch reach advantage for Jai. I like Jai Herbert. I liked him pre-UFC. I think he's had some tough fights in the UFC and is probably better than what his record shows thus far. Problem is, I think for Siam is another tough fight. The kid is good, man. He's well rounded. He's an athlete. He's super composed in there. He showed a lot of improvement, I thought, in his last fight compared to some earlier ones. I am kind of feeling like he can just outclass Jai by like one baby level here. The thing that gives me pause is that for Siam is always the longer guy. He's very used to being the longer guy, and he's not here. And Jai Herbert throws bombs, and I could easily see Ziam get caught at range in ways that he's not used to being caught at range. And Jai Herbert has that UK crowd behind him, too. Oh, I'm torn. I might change live what I thought I was going to say. I will say for Ziam wins a decision. But I almost flipped it to Herbert KO.
I like it. No, I like it. I think these guys are going to be very evenly matched. And you know me, I love picking younger guys, eating older guys. But that being said, I don't think Jai Herbert is that old. And I'm going with the hometown boy for this one. I think Jai Herbert, like you said, with the help of the hometown crowd, giving him that energy, I think he gets a UD over the very tough and young Frost Ziam. Okay, here we go. Paul Craig taking on Andre Muniz. So, Paul Bearju Craig, the 35-year-old out of Scotland, 16-6 with one draw, 13 submission victories on his record. Looking to get back in the win column after back-to-back losses at the hands of Volkan Ozdemir and Johnny Walker. He will be standing across from Andre Muniz. Sergio Pano is his nickname. The 33-year-old out of Brazil. 23-5 with 15 submission victories on his record. Also looking to get back in the win column after losing by submission to Brendan Allen back in February. I will go first. This is going to be, I hope it is, a grappler's delight. Both guys are submission hunters, submission experts. That being said, I was quite disappointed in Andre Muniz's last fight. Before that, I had a lot of faith in him. He was riding a long win streak going into that fight, and I thought Brendan Allen really put it on him. And just like in the last fight with Jai Herbert, I'm going to go with the hometown guy here, Paul Craig. I'm not sure if he's going to be the favorite on the betting odds. I'm going to go with the great Scott, who's going to be completely electrified by this crowd. And I'm going to say Paul Craig catches Muniz into submission. I'll say round 3. What do you got, Mark?
I like it. He is almost a 2-1 underdog, Paul Craig. He is +185. Andre Muniz is a -225 favorite. 2 inches of height for Paul Craig, but 2 inches of reach for Andre Muniz. I cannot fathom that Paul Craig is going to be fighting at middleweight. The dude is such a beast at light heavyweight. I never even imagined that he could go down to 185. I was very caught off guard by this. Granted, Muniz is a big middleweight as well, so I don't expect that Craig is going to look so much bigger than him. I'm not trying to say that. I just never thought I'd see Paul Craig fighting at 185. But with that said, really cool matchup. We have a chance to see a grappling show here, and I hope we get it. Both of these guys will strike. They're not. Neither one's afraid to strike. Craig will even friggin' bang in there, even though his striking is not exactly where he would like it to be. But they are both naturally and instinctively grapplers. So my hope is that has this thing end up on the mat at some point in time, and I think it does get there. And I like Craig more, man. He goes for it. He hunts you. He's a dog. He's a big, strong man. You know, it's possible that Andre Muniz is all these things too, and we just haven't seen that really come out yet. But I haven't liked what we've seen from him in his last couple of fights, and at this point, I think I'd rather be trusting my money on Paul Craig. You know, could we see a fight where maybe Muniz is able to win it in the striking? Because his striking looked much improved in his last fight against Brendan Allen. People forget because of the way that fight ended. But is it possible that he kind of just tries to keep this standing and wins on the feet and doesn't even play around with the bigger man on the mat there and Paul Craig? I guess that is possible, but I'll say Craig finds a way to get it down even if it's going that way. And I will go with Paul Craig by submission in round 3 as well.
Okay. Now we have the featherweight bout between Nathaniel the Prospect Wood and Andre Touchy Fili. Nathaniel Wood, the 29-year-old, out of London, England, 19-5 with 9 knockouts and 5 submissions on his record, coming off back-to-back wins over first Charles Rosa and then Charles Jourdain, back in September. His opponent, Andre Fili, the 33-year-old out of Sacramento, California, 22-9. It's getting late, with 1 no contest, 12 finishes on his record, coming off of a win against Bill Algeo. I'll go first with this one because my take is pretty straightforward. Love Andre Fili, but I think he's a bit of an up-and-down kind of guy. I'm going to roll with who I have to imagine is going to be a heavier betting favorite. Maybe the heaviest betting favorite thus far on this card in Nathaniel Wood. I'll say that Nathaniel Wood gets Andre Fili out of there. I'll say round 2, club and sub.
Okay, so he's not quite as heavy as you thought. He is 2-1. He's minus 210, Nathaniel Wood. Andre Fili is plus 170 as the underdog. And I think the reason it's maybe a little closer than you imagined is because there are 5 inches of height and 5 inches of reach on the Andre Fili side, wow, which is an enormous combination. And Andre Fili's really dynamic. He is really good. He's a dangerous guy. So to have that kind of a size and length advantage is going to be a big feather in his cap coming into this fight. But I, too, am still going to pick Nathaniel Wood. You know, he's got a big hurdle to overcome in terms of dealing with that length that Fili's going to present. But I think he is so damn technical that he can overcome it. I think he's going to rip Andre Fili's legs up from jump, slowly open him up that way. As that adds up, I think he starts to land the straight, maybe mixes in a takedown or two, and just overall becomes the man who's landing cleaner as the fight goes on and as he gets Fili's range and timing down a bit more as he's able to see more of him. So I will say Nathaniel Wood wins it in front of the hometown crowd by UD.
Okay, co-main event time, UFC Fight Night, UFC London 15. I believe, yes, I read this is the 15th visit that the UFC has made to London this Saturday night. In the women's flyweight division, fun one, featuring Molly Meatball McCann taking on Julija Stoliarenko. Molly McCann, the 33-year-old out of Liverpool, 13-5 as a pro, with 6 knockouts on her record. Looking to get back in the win column after losing by Kimura to the rising prospect Erin Blanchfield. She will be standing across from the Lithuanian Julija Stoliarenko, 30 years old, 10-7 as a pro with 2 draws, 9 submission wins on her record. Also looking to get back in the win column after losing to Chelsea Chandler back in October. I'll go first. This one is an easier pick for me to make, I think. Julija Stoliarenko, a lot of red on her record lately. She's a losing record in the UFC. I believe this is her second stint in the UFC. Her first one was just one fight, was a loss, one and done, back in 2018. And she's been back since 2020, but she has gone only 1 for her last 5. So this feels like a pretty favorable matchup for Molly McCann, who's a bit of a wrecking ball. She's the hometown girl. And the last few times that Molly McCann has fought for UFC London events, it is just a big block party for Molly McCann. When she wins and wins impressively, the roof blows off the place. She's a bit of a star, especially on her home turf. So I'm going to say Molly McCann wins by TKO. The only question is how many spinning back fists will she throw? I'll say that she starts with something like that and is a bit of a battering ram against Stoliarenko, gets her out of there. I'll say, you know what? I'll say first round TKO for McCann.
I kind of thought these odds would be wider. McCann is a minus 215 favorite. Stoliarenko is a plus 175 underdog. Another size one that's a bit crazy. 3 inches of height and 7 inches of reach for Julija Stoliarenko. Julia, I should say. So, yeah, enormous size advantage for her. But, as you said, she is 1-5 in the UFC. She has not looked all that great. Yes, she can catch an armbar. We've seen that. We've seen that in her pre-UFC days as well. Molly will have to be careful of that, but Stoliarenko is being set up here to lose to Molly. I cannot believe this is a co-main event. If you asked me if Julia Stoliarenko would ever be in a co-main event, I would not have believed this. But, hey, they want to showcase Molly, and that's what we're going to see. She wins. I'm not sure if she finds a finish because she is also not quite as good as the UFC's marketing wants you to think that she is, but it's very easy to root for Molly. I like her. She has been a magical, enhanced version of herself when she's in front of a UK crowd. And I'll say she does it again. Yes. I'll say it's another finish. Molly McCann, round 2 knockout.
Okay, main event time, UFC London. Once again, this Saturday night, going down at the O2 Arena in London, England. Headlined by these two gentlemen. In the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall taking on Marcin Tybura. Tom Aspinall, the 30-year-old out of Manchester, England. His record stands at 12-3. All 12 wins have come by way of finish, 9 of them knockouts. He is looking to get right back in the win column after a 8-fight win streak. Got snapped by a snapped knee. You see what I did there? That was in real time. You like that? He unfortunately lost his fight officially by TKO because he snapped his own damn knee at 15 seconds into the fight. I think he just literally stepped back on it, if I recall, and it just went.
I can't even remember, but yeah, I think so.
And I don't even know if Curtis Blades had touched him yet, if they touched each other yet.
I think there was a leg kick, I want to say.
Oh, it was one leg kick and then his rear leg. I think it was his rear leg that went. I think so.
I think it was the leg he kicked when he put it down.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
I think he kicked, brought it back, and then when he put it down, it went. Something like that. I don't know.
Okay. Sucks. Okay. Tybura, excuse me, the 37-year-old out of Poland. His record stands at 24-7 heading into this weekend. 9 finishes by knockout, another 6 by submission, and he's riding a 2-fight win streak coming into this weekend, defeating Alexander Romanov and Blagoy Ivanov, back in February. I will go first. I feel like I've picked a lot of Brits on this card. I feel like looking back, I think the UFC has done, in some cases, some great matchups, and in other cases, some matchups that I think favor the Brit quite a bit. And this is one of them. Look, Tybura is a talented guy. He's getting a little long in the tooth at 37 years old, but hey, anything can happen in heavyweight at pretty much any age. You've even seen 40-year-olds have quite a bit of success in the heavyweight division in the UFC, in MMA overall, really. That being said, I've never been super high on Marcin Tybura. You know who I have been high on is Tom Aspinall. This man is talented. At one point, I think I've referred to him as the future of the UFC heavyweight division. He is the new blood that I think the UFC heavyweight division needs. And I'm going to be looking for him to get right back to his winning ways this Saturday night against the Pole. I'm going to say Tom Aspinall has another spectacular first-round finish over a very tough guy in Tybura. And there you have it. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, so he's a pretty huge favorite. Biggest we've said so far. He's minus 475. Marcin Tybura is
Oh, wow.
plus 350 as the dog. The reach is the same. Tom Aspinall's
Okay.
2 inches taller. If you listen to this show, you already know where I'm going here. I am a huge, huge believer in the game of Tom Aspinall. I truly love every aspect of his game. I believe he is the most intriguing test we have for John Jones at the moment, and I am hoping we can get there before John is gone. But if anyone does stop him from getting there, I don't think that person will be Marcin Tybura. He's been fighting well lately. He's no easy out. But tell me what he does better than Tom Aspinall does. There's nothing on that list. So, again, as Mike said, you never know. It's MMA. But I think Tom is better everywhere. And I think he doesn't even bother playing on the ground where Tybura's weight and grappling skill can come into play, even though I trust Tom's there as well, and I could even see him subbing Tybura. I don't think he even bothers. I think he aims to keep this one standing, simply relies on the speed, hurts Tybura, opens up with a combo, drops him, and ends this thing. So I will say Tom Aspinall, round 2 TKO.